Hi everyone. In this lecture, we are going to go over the object function called alarm display. As you can see, there are a bunch of different options here. We'll go with the user alarm, which is default. Most of the people will use the user alarm. So if I click on that and drop an alarm, we'll zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. And uh, let me move it here. The buttons can grow in size so we all can see what they are. See, with the new, if you go to GT Designer package 2, or this is the package 2 of it, which has got a lot cleaner push buttons and layout. The other package did not have this kind of layout. So here, when you look at it, you have options up here for the alarm setting. You can do a user alarm or system alarm, and you can do an ID. It could be fixed or based on a D register. So we'll use fixed ID, and this ID points out to the alarm that you see under project here. So if you click on the edit here, it shows up an alarm window of alarm ID number 1. You can give it a name like test alarm. Then under the collection mode, this is where you want to set up, hey, what do you want to do with the alarm? Do you want to show the historical alarm, or as the alarm gets accumulated, or just show the active alarms? So you would usually have like a cumulative alarm or only the current alarm. So I would keep it to this. You can also check box saying if an alarm shows up multiple times, you can use that. So we'll leave to historic for now. So it shows everything basically. And you have an option here if you want to retain the alarm even when the HMI goes off. You have to plug the battery in. There's a small battery on the back door, and you can change the number of stored alarms if you want. And also you can send PLC a signal if the alarm is full based on this with a uh, depending on the number. Also you can get a notification number on it, and you can clear the buffer using a PLC signal as well if you want. I leave it to delete old data unless your um, equipment needs to retain all the alarms and not add anything new. At that point you would have to use these full notification and buffer clear so you can clean up your alarm log and start running the system again. Also, you have a little option to do a pop-up alarm. It basically shows a pop-up at the bottom or at the top depending on how you set it up. So we'll leave it off. Then under the device, this is pretty handy. So what you can do is you can export this in Excel, the list down here, and bring it back with all the comments. Or you can just export your comment groups and bring it back. So there are two different ways to deal with that. And if you watch up here, it can only start scanning at 100 milliseconds. It cannot do any faster than that. This is how many alarm points you want. So if you look at here, it's set up for 20 alarms. The device type is bit, so this is looking at a bit number, and you can make it continuous or random. So if you see it, we have 20 in the middle of this. So if I make it continuous, it's going to change and it's going to be in an order now, which is M0 through M19. You can do the same thing with the comments. You can have a list it can point to. It could be continuous number or random number. So if it's continuous, it would go in order, and if you do a random, then you can double click on this drop down and change it to a different column here. That you could have different numbers, and if I do continuous, it switches back to in order. Then you can go to file save if you want to save the alarm logs to like your HMI memory or stuff like that. Under the extended, you can also do a coil mode. Usually leave all these to default. We don't usually play with that. And then you have a way to output your historic number storage and generated number storage. These go back to the PLC. So some companies require your alarm managers to be pretty detailed, so you can use these functions for that, or some places don't really care as long as you show an alarm. So you just set it up like this and you will be good to go. And we'll click on OK. Now, this is where you can show how many rows you want to show. So you can make it show 20. Then it would start with the first row all the time. You can show all alarms or generating alarms only. Then if you go to the next tab, there's a display option, so you can give it a title if you want, or you can just leave it to direct to what it is. And here is where you can add more text to it. So if I want 25 characters, if your alarm has more information, you can have the time that it's been running, downtime on the equipment, and all that stuff if you want. It basically adds more fields. Then if you go under text, this is where you can make everything, all the fonts bigger, wider. You can give some spacing if you want and things of that nature, which would be in the styles. If you go into style, if I do 5, if you see how everything is kind of spaced out. So if I make it 32, which is the max, now everything's more spaced out. So we'll leave it to 16, which is more readable for you. And also, if you want, you can make it more widespread. So I mean, that's more readable now. You can give it a shape if you want and change the cursor to a different color if you want. So that's what you have as far as the display styling goes on the alarm. We'll go and change the number to 15 so you can see our controls down. Now, under extended, this is where you have different options where you can change the switching device, change the comment group, and all the other things. I mean, that's a lot. This is something you would use if your customer has a pretty detailed alarm requirement for their equipment. So, on a normal machine, you don't use all these functions. You leave it to default. You would basically set up your alarm setting, display, text style. That's it. On the trigger, you can display or hide the alarm. Usually you want the alarms to be visible unless they are used for something else than alarm. So, and then you have a couple of external outputs where you can point these things to the HMI or to the PLC and send it to like a SQL server for logging purposes. So yeah, that's what you have as far as the alarm display user goes. And if we'll create and rename this to be alarms user, and I'll create a screen 10 for alarms system. I'll delete this stuff. And we're going to objects, alarm display, and system alarm. This is basically a similar thing. It just shows you all the GOT alarm. And you have a bunch of different options where you can show CPU, GOT, and you can have a network alarm. It would basically log all the alarms happening. And you can save the log and send it to an external storage device in the PLC. So, pretty self-explanatory. There's not a lot of options to pick and choose here. All these are the same tabs. There is no difference in any of these. And yeah, that's about it for the system alarm. You can pick and choose what system alarms you want to show. And that's it. So it's pretty handy if you're required to do like a PLC alarm screen so people can see what the alarm's at and things of that nature. So I think that's it for the alarms. There are a couple of other options in there, which is a simple alarm display. I mean, you can set it up. It's basically more of just a list showing you. You don't have a bunch of options here. So yeah, that should be it for the alarms in general. And also you can use alarms for showing your sequence numbers. That's one way I've seen people do it. It would only show like the current number, and it would roll through what sequence you're at. So you don't have to do like a comment list. You can just do an alarm display. I've seen some machines having that, where they use an alarm manager to show the sequence number of operations. So yeah, that's it for the alarms. We'll look at the other option in the next lecture. All right. Thank you.